There's still things we can do no matter what happens in the presidential election, and we're 100% behind President Trump's litigation on this issue. But Georgia, there is a runoff election, and people in Georgia need to get busy and get the two Republicans reelected.
You're right. It's going to be real important. Now, I want to talk about what Pacific Justice Institute is doing specifically in Georgia.
Yeah.
My understanding is that we had a project called The Church Finds Its Voice, and we were able to target and get 317 churches to do voter registration Sundays.
Yes.
We targeted 8 congressional districts, Southern California, Central California, to get people to vote.
Yes.
We didn't even advocate for a candidate, but just to get people of faith, Christians, registered and to vote.
Yes.
We got over 10,454 new voters. Over 90% of them voted, along with many others who were encouraged to vote.
Yeah.
It tilted 6 districts, 6 congressional districts that we think would have likely have turned out differently because the margins were so close.
Yeah.
We're now taking that, as I understand now, to Georgia, and our pastor liaison, Peter Mord, is taking that to Georgia.
Right.
What are we planning on doing in Georgia?
Well, what we really what we did here in California, and it was an exciting effort, getting pastors who weren't really politically involved before and helping them see, one, the value of being politically involved, and two, the necessity of being politically involved by at least giving their congregants a place to register to vote and to make sure and encouraging them to vote. And so if we can reproduce this what happened here in California in other states, more specifically right now Georgia, and get thousands of churches involved in this, boy, we may well be able to make some significant change and do what is absolutely critical: maintain control of the Senate. That we must maintain control of the Senate.
We have to do it. And folks out there, if you're watching this program and you are part of a church, leadership in a church, or a pastor of a church, please feel free to contact us. Ask for Peter. So ask for Peter Moore. Just ask for Peter. We have only one Peter on staff. He's our pastor liaison, and he'll work with you on how you can have voter registration Sundays, how you can have information disseminated, what your legal rights are, what you can do. We make all that available. We have free resources regarding that on our website, pji.org, along with our Legal Insider newsletter. You can sign up to get that as well, these updates. We have 52 cases in litigation right now, so we'd love to keep people updated with that as well by getting our Legal Insider. But I'm excited about this. What's great is the formula, what we did and how we did it. We tested it.
Right.
It worked.
It worked.
We saw dramatic results impacting the country. That's a lot of districts impacted in a very small degree versus the entire country. We're looking at about a third or half of the votes swinging potentially just by what we did, what I believe was the impact of what we did based on the numbers and the stats that we've been able to analyze. So this is encouraging, and we're putting forth the assets. We're putting forth out of our reserves to have this pastor liaison on full-time, taking on this project with Georgia. But it's also going to be spreading we're going to be working in Arizona with pastors, in Nevada, and other states across the country. So I'm optimistic that this will have a big impact. We have a sprint with Georgia. That's a sprint.
Yeah.
We have a nice marathon with regard to the other states for 2022, 2024.
Right.
I'm very encouraged.
And one of the things that I talked about in talking with Peter and pastors that have participated in the program, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of excitement in pastors encouraging their congregation to vote their values. That's what's important. It really is, as we talked about many times, part of our testimony as Christians is to vote our values, is to say, hey, we want to draw a line in the sand of morality and say, no, we're not going to go any further than this. This stops here. rubbish stops here. And when the Senate, as most people know, because we've talked about it a lot of times and others have as well, the Senate is critical to stop far left leaning justices being named to the court. We need it. And as we've talked about already, just think Merrick Garland. We don't know how much of a good of a justice he would have been, but we do know this: he was appointed by a very liberal president, President Obama, and he's not on the court right now. But Justice Gorsuch, Justice Kavanaugh, and Justice Barrett are all on the court.
Yeah, and that's because the Senate said no, not on our watch. We're not appointing this presumed liberal on the court. I think that's real important. Keeping the Senate just for the purpose of keeping radicals off the court, the Supreme Court, the federal district courts, circuit courts. I think that's really important, so important. And then we also have, like the socialism we were just talking about being espoused by so many in the Democrat Party and the House of Representatives. If they take the Senate, the Democrats, then Biden will not just be a bunny rabbit, just sort of there. He will be a grizzly bear.
That's right.
And radically change our society with socialism, exorbitant taxes, and long term. He would reverse what President Trump did to get us economically strong.
Yes.
And he will basically reverse that. It's a shame we can't learn as a nation. I'd like to have, but that's what will happen if they get control of the Senate.
Yeah.